I wasn't supposed to be back that early. My trip ended a day sooner than planned, and I didn't tell anyone. I thought I'd surprise my mom, maybe bring her favorite dessert, sit down, talk like we used to. For a moment, I actually felt excited to come home. That feeling didn't last long. The house was quiet when I walked in. Too quiet. No TV. No music. No voices. Just silence. I dropped my bag near the door and stepped further inside. That's when I heard it. Soft. Broken. Crying. My chest tightened instantly. "Mom," I called out. No response. But the sound didn't stop. I followed it to the living room, and there she was, sitting on the edge of the couch, her shoulders shaking, her face buried in her hands, crying like she was trying not to be heard. "Mom," I said again, rushing toward her. She looked up quickly, startled. The moment she saw me, she wiped her tears fast, forcing a weak smile. "You're back early," she said, like nothing was wrong. I ignored that. "What happened?" I asked. "Nothing," she replied immediately. "I'm fine." She wasn't. Anyone could see that. Before I could press further, I heard something else. Laughter. From the kitchen. Loud. Carefree. Comfortable. I froze. Because that laugh didn't belong in this moment. Didn't belong in this house. I slowly turned toward the sound and walked in. That's when I saw them. My stepdad, standing there like everything was normal, smiling, relaxed, pouring drinks, and sitting across from him was a woman I had never seen in this house before. But I knew exactly who she was. His ex. The one he always said was in the past. The one he said didn't matter anymore. They were laughing, talking, like old friends, like nothing had changed, like my mom's tears didn't exist. He looked up when he saw me. "Oh," he said casually, "you're back." No guilt. No awkwardness. Just annoyance. Like I had interrupted something. I glanced between them, then back at him. "What is she doing here?" I asked. His expression didn't change. "Relax," he said. "We're just talking." Just talking. Behind him, the kitchen looked set. Glasses out. Food half prepared. Like this wasn't the first time. Like this wasn't sudden. Like this had been planned. My chest tightened. Because suddenly, this wasn't just about what I walked into. It was about what had been happening while I wasn't there. I looked back toward the living room. Toward my mom. Still sitting there. Still quiet. Still pretending everything was fine. And, in that moment, I realized something. This wasn't new. This was just the first time I saw it. And whatever was going on in this house was a lot worse than I thought. And I wasn't going to ignore it. I didn't say anything else in the kitchen. Not yet. Because I needed to understand. Not react. I turned around and walked back to the living room. My mom was sitting exactly where I left her, wiping her face again, like she could erase what just happened. I sat beside her quietly. "How long?" I asked. She didn't look at me. "I don't know what you mean," she whispered. I exhaled slowly. "Mom, I just saw him. With her. In our house." Her hands tightened in her lap. Still no answer. "That's not the first time, is it?" I asked. Silence. And that silence told me everything. "How long?" I repeated. Her voice finally came out, small and tired. "A few months." Something inside me dropped. "Months," I said, unable to hide it now. She nodded slightly, still avoiding my eyes. "He said it was nothing," she added quickly. "That they were just talking, catching up." I looked toward the kitchen again, at the laughter that hadn't stopped. "That's not catching up," I said quietly. She didn't argue, because she knew. "I didn't want to make it a big issue," she continued. "I thought maybe it would pass." Pass. Like it was a phase. Like it wasn't happening in her own home. "Does he know how this makes you feel?" I asked. She let out a small, broken laugh. "He says I'm overreacting." Of course he did. Because that's what people say when they don't want to take responsibility. I felt anger rise. Not loud. Not explosive. Just steady. Controlled. Because this wasn't just about him anymore. It was about her. About how long she had been sitting here, alone in her own pain, while he acted like nothing mattered. I need you to be honest with me, I said. She finally looked at me, her eyes red.
Tired.
I don't think he respects me anymore, she whispered. That hit harder than anything else. Not the betrayal. Not the situation.
That.
Because it wasn't just about what he was doing. It was about what she had accepted. I stood up slowly. She noticed immediately. What are you doing? She asked, a hint of worry in her voice. I looked toward the kitchen.
Toward him.
Toward the problem she had been trying to ignore. I'm done pretending this is normal, I said. Her expression shifted.
Fear.
Uncertainty. Because she knew what I was about to do was something she hadn't been able to. I'll handle it, I added calmly. And without waiting for her to stop me, I walked back toward the kitchen. Because whatever had been happening in this house was about to stop.
Right now.
I walked into the kitchen without hesitation. Their laughter stopped the moment they saw my face.
Good. Get out, I said.
No shouting. No drama. Just clear. My stepdad frowned. Excuse me, he said. I said get out. I repeated, looking directly at the woman. This isn't your home. Silence.
Tense.
Sharp. She glanced at him, unsure. Because suddenly, this wasn't casual anymore. This is between adults, he said, trying to take control. No, I replied calmly. This is about respect. I stepped closer. You don't bring someone else into this house while she's crying in the next room, I said. His expression shifted.
Because now it was exposed.
Not hidden. Not ignored.
Seen.
The woman stood up slowly. I think I should go, she muttered. No one stopped her. She walked out quietly. And just like that, the laughter was gone. I looked back at him. This ends now, I said.
He didn't argue.
Didn't defend himself. Because there was nothing left to say. Later that night, I sat beside my mom again. This time she wasn't crying. Just quiet.
Processing.
You didn't have to do that, she said softly. I know, I replied. But someone had to. She looked at me.
Different now.
Not just as her child, but as someone who stood up when she couldn't.
And slowly she nodded.
Sometimes, the hardest part isn't facing the truth. It's accepting that you deserved better all along. And that night, for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel alone anymore. Because respect doesn't return on its own. Sometimes, someone has to stand up and bring it back.